Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Graham O'Brien, and some of the stories coming up in today's news. Police appeal for witnesses, Habitat finds its own home, battle on Trafalgar continues, and much more. Nelson-based police are appealing to anyone who witnessed an incident in the car park at the Richmond Mall about 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday this week to come forward. Police received information from a member of the public that they had seen a male produce what they believed to be a firearm from the boot of a vehicle. The male was standing by a silver Mitsubishi Galant with two associates and was seen to be abusing a woman driver of another vehicle that had parked behind his vehicle. The man then returned the object to the boot of his car and the three males walked into the mall. The offender was arrested shortly after. Meanwhile, police recovered a gas-powered imitation pellet rifle from the boot of the vehicle in question. Police would like to speak to the woman who parked behind the vehicle. She was believed to be driving a people mover style vehicle. Police would also like to speak to anyone else who witnessed the incident. In relation to this incident, a 34-year-old man is to appear in Nelson District Court this week to face charges. He has been charged with disorderly behaviour and presenting a firearm. The man is facing an additional charge of burglary in relation to the theft of puppies from the Hokitika SPCA last weekend. Nelson has been without a large indoor performance space since the forced closure of the Trafalgar Centre late in 2013 due to concerns about the safety of the structure in the event of an earthquake. Nelson man Kerry Neal has been outspoken over the closure, and I caught up with Kerry over the centre's latest developments. We've got new developments on the Trafalgar Centre, but just before we go into that, I'd like people to update people on the timeline of where we've come from. So if you can just quickly as you can, just run through right from the beginning.
About 8 years ago, geotechnical advisors said that the material under the Trafalgar Centre was adequate. My words, but you can get the gist. Then, of course, of late, a whole lot of new boys on the block got involved and determined it otherwise. Consequently, we've had this horrendous, unnecessary problem of the building being maligned unnecessarily. And of course, we all know, I'm sure most people know that that came about because they guesstimated everything, desktop and analysed it. Yep. Fatal, garbage in, garbage out. So and then, of course, because of that, all through 2013. 22 times in the minutes there is reference to liquefaction and what an evil thing this is, and it can be, of course, but in that material, no, because it has now been deemed by the latest guru, expert, whatever you like to call them, that it's about on a par with where they assessed it 8 years ago. Now, in the meantime, this council, who has sat there like Madame Tussauds waxworks and said nothing to support the facts, just support the garbage that's been going on, have spent 1.7 million of yours and my money for nothing. Because here we are at a point now where the facts have pretty much exposed all that's gone wrong with their assessment, but they haven't had the integrity to say, well, yeah, we got that a bit wrong. Yep.
So you're talking about the material under it, which is, they're saying liquefaction, and you're also talking about the debacle with the piles being 3 metres deep.
Yeah, I mean, that's unreal, isn't it? To think that they couldn't accept that there's a decent foundation under the building. And
the records that you and your team found in the archives there.
Yeah, it's all there, it's all there. I mean, a builder or a carpenter knows where to find these things, and that's who they should have asked.
Yep. So moving on then, so that was the reason it was shut down.
Yep.
So, and then we move on, and then we later find out that the southern end's got some problems. This is the new
right.
bit.
Okay, well initially the fright was because the perceived condition of the soil, that the modern type of foundation under that part of the building wasn't going to support the building in event of liquefaction. Well, you know, we're only repeating it, but we now know that that's not a fact. However, the real concern is that that building was never, that part of that new addition was never completed. It ran over budget, And in the process of, and because it went over budget and because it was never completed, it was never brought up to standard fire protection standards. And the building was certified for use. Having said that, they did put signs on all the doors, no public access, so I suppose that overcame the legality of that, but it makes a nonsense of the whole process.
Sure. Okay. So we got the southern. There's problems with the southern.
That's one
end.
thing. I mean, we could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, sure. So let's move on. And now we get a new engineer in, and he tells us that the beams. There's something wrong with the beams. Can you please just touch on what he said about the beams?
I'm sure the viewers will recall there's been a long list of attempts to cover up for the inadequacies of everybody's desktop analysis. We are now at the point, as you know, and I'm sure most of the viewers know or have heard, that the arches are deemed to be brittle and will snap like toothpicks. Now, I think there will be a photo available for you to show the people.
Yep.
The beams arriving from Manukau, where they were made in Auckland in 1971. The photo will show them on the back of the truck, and they would have flapped around a fair bit on their way down. They actually came by rail to Picton and then were trucked over to Nelson.
Yep.
But the spin, I'll call it, has been the belief or the attempt to make everybody believe that those arches would not stand more than 100 millimetres of spread. Well, they would have flapped more than that coming across the Whangamoas on the truck.
And these laminated beams, I mean, these survived the Christchurch earthquake, and they're also the new kind of beams that are going into the NMIT, I believe.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, they've suddenly woken up to the fact that this is the way to go. It doesn't burn. It doesn't, it'll char, but it won't burn. Steel, when it gets hot, will collapse. So there's another plus.
Yep. So what are we doing about these laminated beams? Are we getting more experts to have a look at these laminated beams, or are there more experts?
Oh, well, there are, we can call them experts. People with practical experience and technical background are now involved in educating the council and the project managers that these things are very satisfactory. In fact, superior to any other type of structure of that nature. Okay? In other words, we're talking about something without a bottom member to like a standard truss that you see in any farm building or any building. They're built in an arch form and they're on compression, and that of course gives them far more integrity. Ask the Romans. Have a look at the bridges, still there 2,000 years later on compression.
Yep.
That's why they're still there, they're on compression.
So could you maybe just highlight for us or help us understand, the engineer that said that these were brittle, does he have expertise?
No, definitely.
And who does have expertise? I heard someone in Christchurch.
Yes, correct. Andy Buchanan is connected with the Canterbury University, researching all this stuff all the time. Yep. He would be a good man to get hold of if anybody wants to. But Alan Hunter, who was very much involved in the manufacture of beams at the same period, in fact, manufactured all the beams for Darling Point development in Sydney. So that's how much experience Alan has had. He's jumped into it and written a letter to the paper and whatnot, expressing great concern at the way this technology and clearly superior system is being maligned. And they're not happy about that.
No, it's their products, isn't it?
Macintosh has built the things in Auckland, and they're not happy.
Yep.
So there's a lot of unhappiness associated with the discrediting of a beautiful system. Now, they will say, oh, but the building's going to spread. Well, quite frankly, I don't want to hear that ever again. The thing is superbly engineered to avoid that sort of possibility. And remember, we live in a hazardous globe. I mean, you can't guarantee anything. But if you were to engineer a building today, I would challenge any engineer out there to tell me whether you'd build it any better.
Kerry Neal, thanks very much for all that information and all the hard work that the team's been doing for the last how many years?
Oh, 22 months now. Full on.
Great. Thanks very much.
Good. Thanks, Graham.
Cheers. Nelson City Councillor Brian McGurk was in our Mainland studio and Chrissy Small spoke to him about the recent developments involving Nelson Airport and what the arrival of additional airlines could mean for the region.
Now, Brian, we've got airlines coming out our ears, it seems. It's been a famine, but now it looks like we're going to have a feast. Is this a good thing for Nelson?
Well, it gives consumers and Nelsonians a lot of choice to go to places that they need to go to. Interestingly, probably the biggest reasons people from Nelson are travelling is probably to visit family. So the opportunity to visit family is in other parts of the country is wonderful. Probably enables Nelsonians to do business in other parts of the country and events. But the same token is it allows visitors more opportunity to visit Nelson.
Right. Okay. So Brian. We've got a situation in Nelson where we are the sunshine capital. It's a great place to live. We've got so much to offer as far as outdoor activities and well, our crafts and arts and museums.
Yeah.
We also have people who live here and commute over to Wellington each week because they work in the city but they live here. Can you see in the foreseeable future that airfares will become much more affordable for these people?
Well, it's an option, and one of the things that we might like to think about for the future is Nelson a place where people might like to work and businesses headquarter themselves here. If government departments would like to sort of get away from Wellington and move to the regions, and other businesses like to set up, like for instance Kiwibank have relocated their headquarters to the Hawke's Bay, and there's an option there that something like Nelson might want to consider in starting attracting sort of head offices and big support. So that means we need good air links that allow headquarters to people to come to Nelson.
Right.
So it's a bit about air travel it's about inbound and outbound travel. Nelsonians visiting friends and family in other parts of the country, but more importantly, I suppose, it's actually bringing customers and people into our region.
Well, that's right. As a region that has so much to offer. One of the things that we seem to be feeling out there, though, is that people believe we do live in the sunshine capital, but we have the sunshine wages, which makes it a little bit more tricky and less affordable for those to leave the area.
Well, there are some challenges out there in terms of one of the issues that I'm aware of is a lot of part-time work. People are struggling for full-time hours. It's fine to be working for 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week, but people need full-time work.
That's right.
And paying a realistic wage to go with that.
Well, if you work part-time, as I know, I have a second job, you get secondary tax.
Yes.
So you don't really win.
No, and that's important, is that people are looking for full-time work, and when they're working full-time work, it's a wage that not only allows them to thrive, but also contribute to the community.
Right. Okay. So Brian, it can't be all bad. It's got to be a big positive move for Nelson to have this attention.
I think the fact that we've got the likes of these airline companies investing in Nelson means that they've got a positive future. They see that there's a market of growth. I would suspect that what's happened is that we're pretty much the airlines are running at capacity now. So it's a matter of meeting the demand.
Right. Now, new airport terminal. Of
course, that's exciting.
As an investor, well, as one of the
stakeholders,
yeah.
Well, it's the airport companies is owned half by as people are aware, is half owned by both the City Council and the TDC. And the existing terminal building, I think it was built in the mid-70s, and the environment has changed considerably since then. Those days, people probably used to get dressed up, and they're probably the one or two times in their lifetimes that they would travel. Now we're looking at the projections out there, probably over 1 million, probably 1.2, 1.3 million people using that airport annually. Those are figures that are probably unheard of when that terminal building was built. more than 30 years ago.
I remember the one before that.
Yeah.
You used to go inside on a rainy day and put your brolly up.
Yeah.
Mm.
And people's expectations of airports are quite different now. We need check-in facilities, somewhere to do the meeting and greeting.
Will there be retail in there?
I'm assuming so. That's probably something you need to direct to the airport company.
Right, yes.
But that's an expectation.
Maybe a bit more challenge in the catering department there.
Well, there are issues for the airport company, but and the city council. We just look forward to a dividend.
What about car parking?
Well, that's something again to take up. Certainly, we've had those communications have been had with the airport company. That's something that they're well aware of and need to cater. But
do you think there'll be a bus
service?
Well,
it's interesting with our regional transport committee. We're looking at public transport. There's certainly a call for some kind of public transport link between the airport and the city. It has been tried in the past, with a modicum of success, and as a result, it's probably not there. Hasn't happened now, but certainly that's something that's certainly come up in our consultation and our conversations with the community. Is they are looking for some kind of public transport link between the airport and the city.
Right. So it's all exciting, lots of changes, and
there's lots of things happening in the background. And when we're talking about public transport, is that we're looking at expanding the public transport link and the bus service, particularly around Stoke.
Great.
So the things are happening.
Be good to get Tasman on board, wouldn't it?
Oh well, they've upped their contribution to the N-Bus, so
excellent.
They recognise that they have a part to play as well.
Great, excellent. Well, Brian McKirk, lovely to have you here again.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's a pleasure.
This week in Parliament, Nelson MP Nick Smith was chastised for going off topic and had to make an apology after the Assistant Speaker of the House, Trevor Mallard, called him on the protocol. After a series of comedic events and 3 apologies later, Nick Smith was still made to leave Parliament.
I must respond to claims around where this residual levy has come from.
Order.
Oh, look, Mr. Chairman.
The member will stand and apologise.
For saying what? I apologise for saying Mr. Chairman.
The member will now stand, withdraw and apologise without reservation, or he will leave the chamber.
I unreservedly apologise.
Dr. Nick Smith will leave the chamber.
I'm sorry? Unfit to ever be Speaker.
Order. Dr. Nick Smith will take a seat now. The Sergeant-at-Arms will find Dr. Nick Smith and ask him to return to the chamber, please. Point of order, Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, I understand you seek my apology and you haven't.
What I would like you now is to withdraw and apologise for the comment you made indicating bias on the part of the chair as you left the chamber. And the member will do it properly. He knows how to do it.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw and apologise.
Thank you. Now, the member will now leave the chamber.
Habitat for Humanity opens their new restore this Saturday. I went down for the unofficial opening, which was held earlier in the week, to thank all those who have been involved in making the restore happen. I spoke with Habitat for Humanity's CEO, Claire Zabo. Claire, fantastic here. You must be really pleased with the efforts that people have put in to get it this far.
Oh, absolutely delighted. It's quite moving to see how far it's come. I have heard that the before shots of this venue were quite basic, and obviously this has now been completely kitted out. It looks fantastic, huge branding on the street, and we've got 3 huge rooms full of stuff that's been donated. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we came down and did a story. It was all empty here, and it wasn't very long ago.
Yeah, I think people have gotten behind it, and there's a whole pile of volunteers who've just given a huge amount of their time, and lots of local businesses have helped out with materials and donated goods. It's been just amazing to watch.
It's great. And we know Habitat for Humanity in Nelson is building homes, low-cost homes, people to go into. Is that all they do? I mean, you're the CEO. What's the big organisation?
So Habitat for Humanity is a global organisation, and we're also all throughout New Zealand, and we're building low-cost housing for families in need, and also after the Christchurch earthquakes, we've been in there. But we work all over the world. So people in Nelson, they might be volunteering and helping out here for local builds, but some of them are also going with us overseas to places like Nepal after their earthquakes, or into the Pacific when there are cyclones, and we build for all sorts of people that are in need.
Well, it's fantastic. And these restores, is this the first one in New Zealand?
No, this isn't. So it's the first one here in Nelson, but we do have a chain of restores. So I think we've got 12 others dotted throughout the country, and they raise funds primarily for the local programs in those areas, but sometimes they also help out our overseas programs too, so that we can help out wherever there's need.
Well, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Saturday the 26th is the official opening of the Restore, so be in quick to get some of the great bargains at Restore's official opening. And remember, all profits go back into our community to provide real low-cost housing for those that need it. The community of Mapua is witnessing some rather big changes in their neighbourhood. Some of the changes made, some may argue, are to benefit local property developers, with speed reduction changes imposed catching out many long-term local residents who have not yet adapted to a slower speed zone change, as traffic police nab these unsuspecting drivers. Meanwhile, Mapua's popular wharf cafe and ice cream parlour Hamish's has gone after 9 years of trading, leaving many locals to relocate their coffee catch-ups further down the Aranui Road to the cramped Java hut. However, Tasman District Council's new wharf development has begun to take shape, with the first parts of the structure being erected this week. Recent announcements by TDC are that a lease has been signed by Rabbit Island Limited, who will be opening an ice cream shop in the new shed. There are a total of 7 retail spaces in the council-owned and operated $1,095,000 Shed 4 complex. Construction of this development is expected to be completed in October, but judging by the development progress this week, they could be lucky to meet their deadline. Close by the wharf on Aranui Road is another development bordering on the former contaminated fruit growers site. A TDC approved housing development seems to have taken off with an abundance of infill housing near the developed concrete amphitheatre and rusty toilet block of Aranui Park. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Hi everyone, I'm Malcolm Harris from the Facilitators. We now look after sales for Mainland TV, radio, Sky and online. New Zealand On Air's latest Colmar Brunton survey confirms Mainland's large multimedia audience. If you're in business or want to put a message out to everyone in the Nelson Tasman region, plus nationwide on Sky or worldwide online, please give me a call or see our website at www.mainlandtv.nz.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
I'm Francis from Nelson Auto Glass. We repair all auto glass, stone chips, windscreen replacements, scratch removal.
If you have an auto glass issue, our team will sort it.
Nelson Auto Glass Specialist, 84 Vanguard Street, Nelson.
.1 The Shed. Welcome me hearties to Smuggler's Pub and Cafe, famous for hearty meals, craft ales and a friendly service way. Sensational seasonal menus with meals all day and evening too, or sail in for a snack with special menus for young smugglers and you. Settle in for a jolly old time, relax and enjoy our award-winning dining and a lovely fine wine. Decked out in an old worldly way, we're open 7 days. Book or come on in to 8 Muritai Street, not far from a beach walk or swim. Phone 5464 084.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. School terms only. Fun while you get fitter, work at your level. For more information, please contact Shirley on 547 1433 or 021 121 8023.
Victory 60 Plus is on Tuesdays at 1:30 through to 3:30 p.m. at 238 Upper Vanguard Street. You can join in for cards, games and a cuppa.
On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
Are you tired of endless reality shows? Would you prefer to watch captivating documentaries?
They have swallowed cars.
Exciting movies.
Go ahead, load up and shoot.
Music for the soul.
And if you think I'd ate your fish and chips, I did, you're mistaken.
Programming from around the world. Places to visit. Local news and views.
I'm Graham O'Brien, and today's bulletin. Do you want to change the flag?
No, I don't want to change the flag.
Stay tuned to Mainland TV, your local station.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more.
JCar. 120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Welcome to Smuggler's Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour. We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time. Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
Edward Gibbon, the bathroom specialist, have a great range of bathroom ideas at their showroom at 23 McGlashan Ave in Richmond. Call in and check out some of the latest bathroom designs and fittings. Edward Gibbon, the bathroom plumbing and drainage supply specialist, 23 McGlashan Ave, Richmond.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220. And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979. So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.